All right, hello everyone. Welcome. And I hear a huge echo. Is that coming from your computer, babe? Just the volume down, maybe. It is Monday, October 3rd, and I want to welcome everyone to our call. Thank you for joining. And we'll start off, as always, with wins and gratitudes.
I'll do one.
All right.
This was a couple weeks ago. I was going to share it last week. But following Penny's script that I've mentioned a couple times, I actually got an enrollment from somebody I reached out to on that script. So that was really exciting and just validating. So even though I've gotten a lot of no's, of course, you keep going and you celebrate them because you're calling people and asking them to look at information. But the script's just awesome, and it just is just flowing so well, and I believe it's really authentic, and I didn't expect that actually from this person. So yeah, it was, you just never know.
That's awesome. Why don't you share a little bit, just give us a little recap.
Well, I've just been messaging people on Facebook, and Penny has this awesome script that she came up with on reaching out to people. And she shared, this is, the role play she did a few weeks ago. So I kind of pretty much just used what she did, just talking about really want to catch up, but right now I'm working on this project I'd love to share with you. When's a great time to call, and a great number to reach you at. And then this person got back to me, and I just went through and shared my goal. I changed my goal a little bit. Like my goal was trying to just get information in front of 100 people in a month's time versus a week, because I don't have time to do a week. In a month, I don't even know if I have time to do a month, but I'm going to do as many as I can. And then it just, then, she was super open. And then I just said, what would you, out of all these solutions, we work for a solution-based company, which solution resonates with you the most? And I read the solutions, and hers, she was like, I'm going to Mexico. I'd definitely like to shed a few pounds, and other things came up. But so I just shared some info on that, and that was that. I followed up. I asked her, I did the whole Eric Worre, like, when are you going to watch it for sure? This was in Penny's script as well. And tonight. So can I call you tomorrow? What time would work? I called her back that next day at the time, and she didn't answer. Which happens a lot. And so I was like, it's okay. I'm just going to, and then she texted me later that night and said she wanted to get started. So we just talked that night. So it's been really good. It's the good thing is I'm just getting information out there in front of people. So, and that app, I'm telling you what, I can't believe it took me so long to get the IsoTools app. It is amazing. Because it's really nice to be like, oh my gosh, well, at least they opened it. At least I know they're looking at something. And even if they ignore me, at least I know they looked at it.
Yeah, that is so true. And that's a great app even for if you're using it for, let's say, I know there are some people who get some leads, for example, and the leads are sometimes very hard to reach. So there are videos in the IsoSalesTools app that you can send them how to do a shake day, how to do a cleanse day, the catalog, that kind of thing. So at least you're going to know if those people are engaging with the information. So that's fantastic. I love it. And you know what? I think that a script, it really gives you something, and we're going to talk about that tonight, is confidence and posture, because you know what you're going to say. It gives you a system, and I can hear it in your voice even. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. And thanks, Penny.
Penny, I sent you a text. I don't know if you can read it while we're here, but anyone else willing to share? I think Wilfongs went to an event. How was that, guys? Any nuggets from there?
Kind of same thing as Lauren. It was, what's his name? Steve Levito. He was Levati, sorry, from New Jersey, came in and he spoke. But just back to, don't be afraid to share, and just let people know what we're doing and why we're doing it. We share because we care. That's Dawn and I's new motto. We share because we care. And the more people that we share it with, because back to that again, and if we don't share and let people know, they're going to hear it from somebody else. And why not us?
And it's getting more and more true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have anything? All right. Well, we're going to get into a little bit of bookkeeping stuff. I hope everyone's taking notes. You can't hear me? Oh, yes, I can hear you. No, hang on, you're muted, so go ahead.
Okay. So Stephanie and I went to that event over the weekend, and Stephanie, of course, was she met some person, and we happened to go out for dinner Saturday night, and we actually went to a restaurant here, and Stephanie was entertaining her friend, the singer. So we were sitting at this community. Massimiliano. So we were sitting there, and they were chatting away, chatting up a storm. And you know me, I don't, chat like as they do, but there was actually this couple right next to me. So I kind of interrupted them. And it so happened that this guy, he was a doctor out of Prescott. So we struck up a really good conversation, and then his wife was really into the conversation. And so by the time the night was over, I got a lot of information on who they were, where they came from. And then I just kind of briefly filled in what Stephanie and I do. And then all of a sudden he was interested because, he just had a recent surgery and that. And so now we're going to be sending him some information, and we're going to be talking to him this week. So I'm going to set up a call with my coach and mentor, Stephanie, and rock it on.
Very good. And then I got the elbow, suddenly they're interested, and I got the elbow. And it was actually a very good lesson, because I think Al wanted me to go right into explaining Isagenix. And I thought, we don't really have to do that, because he already had their phone number. He already had their email address and everything. And so that was really great. And yeah, this guy's a cardiologist and a health professional, and he was very open and very interested. So I think I didn't hear what Al said, but he did a great job while Massimiliano and I were talking away. And I heard actually a really good little tip on getting information, and it's that how you ask for it really is what it's all about. So if somebody's asking, what is it about, or whatever, and you're out at dinner, it's very easy then to just to say, well, this isn't really the time or place to get into it. If you want more info, I need you to write. And this is the way this, at this event, this guy said, I need you to write down your email address for me, and has them a card to write it on. And while they're writing their email address, he says, and while you're at it, give me your cell number as well. So people are just basically being directed, and he has such posture that I'm sure whatever, and give me $100, you'd hand it to him. He literally stood in the front of a room and said, I believe that people are randomly going to walk up to me and put money in my hand. And he just kept repeating it, and sure enough, 95% of the room came up and put money in his hand. It was crazy. This guy who's very well off. And then once he gets their cell number, he said, you know what, I'm going to call you. I want you to also, since you gave me your cell number, I want you to also have mine. So I'm going to call you right now, just so you have it. And that gets around the, in case somebody was going to give you a fake cell number for some reason, which would be, nobody would, of course, do that. So I thought that was really a great tip. So if you want this information, then here's what I need please give me this. It was cool. Anyway, so I was also, that event made me just think about all kinds of different things. And I know this is something that we touched on quite a while ago, and we never really pursued. And I would love for us as a team collectively to every week start educating more on product. So having a product featured, a highlighted product every week. And then we each can give our little take on it. So let's say if we feature Isadelight chocolates, maybe we post recipes that use Isadelights. Maybe we post our favorite way to eat it, which is our favorite flavor. And all week, different person is, and I think we could just do it like a potluck and hope that, you know, if you go into the group and somebody's already posted their Ice of Delight that day, maybe wait till the next day or till later. But I think that's going to be a really great thing towards educating people. I know when we were more consistently doing that, the order baskets were higher and people were really looking to try these products. And if you're, for example, if you're educating someone about, you know, a power drink that you make it on a video and mix the ice and blend it and shake it, so you're engaging as many of their senses as possible instead of just writing about it or showing it. You know, if you're going to show like I eat my Ice of Delights a very particular way. I break it into 4 pieces, then I break it open, and then I kind of savor each piece. And I just thought that would be really fun. What do you guys think? All right, since our team calls are on Monday, we can decide each Monday or we can even post it in the business group. And I think it would be really good to start with sticky products. So we know the Ice of Delights are a very sticky product. The Ageless Essentials Daily Pack, another very, very sticky product. The bars, sticky product. So, you know, like, where do you have your bar? I know Pia once posted, she was driving in the car and didn't have time to eat, so she was having her bar. You know, you guys posted a picture, Dawn and Leanne, I think you were hiking. And so all the different ways and showing the convenience of the food on the go. So is everyone in on that? And excellent. Any other suggestions, ideas around that? Okay, so that's weekly product spotlight. The other thing is, I know everybody on this call is walking people through their box, because I just know you guys are those kind of people. Let me ask you this though. Do you, and Rena, can you hear us?
Yeah, my camera's broken, so I'm tuning in, just not by video.
Oh, I want to see your smiling face, but okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. So, but you can see us, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So do you guys also have people, when you walk up to your box, take out the catalog? That's the first thing I usually have people take out. Because guess what? Most people never crack that welcome kit open. So I have them pull that out, make sure they dig out their tape, make sure they find their measuring thing. But the catalog, also think about, and if you haven't done it, do it now. Check in with your people and have them pull out a catalog. If you have somebody with little kids, have them open it to the page that, you know what, I know your kids would love our Amped Hydrate. Open it up to page 36 and check that stuff out. My mouth waters when I look at that. What it is blah, blah, blah. And actually show them a few things. Ask them what they're using for skincare. Say, well, you know, when you run out of your skincare line, you're going to want to try this. It's beautiful. And have them go to the page, go through it with them. You know, and the better you know them, the more you can direct them to things that you think are really going to resonate for them. While they're flipping through the catalog, they're going to see some great before and after pictures. And also I have them commit to looking at, you know, what is an Isoline shake? And in the catalog, it has a little blurb on it. So again, use the tools. How does it work? Why do I need it? This is going to help you guys build belief in your customers. So let's commit to doing that in the box walkthrough. And if you haven't, just when you're checking in with someone, say, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow or tonight or when we touch base. Can you please make sure you have your catalog handy, because there's something I really want to show you in it. And let's see what happens. Especially for people maybe who are maybe only ordering 1 canister of shake or ordering really low BV. Find out what else could be redirected from their other grocery money to their own store. And, you know, talk about in those kinds of terms, like what else in here could you be buying from your own store? You know, I was walking somebody through and it's like, the coffee's, how much is it? And I said, the prices. And he said, that seems really high. I said, well, if you're buying a big tub of Folgers at Costco, then yeah, I guess it would be. I buy quality coffee at Whole Foods, so it's pretty comparable. So it was kind of a, you know, that people like us would like quality coffee, of course. I'm sure you're not buying that Folgers crap.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So every time the new catalog would come out, we would get like a catalog, an updated catalog in our box. Do we have to buy them now? Or do we not?
On auto ship generally get a new catalog always sent to them.
I have not gotten one in a long time, so I'm gonna have to
Well,
find
there
one.
hasn't been a new one in a long time. And, you know, if it's somebody who's a customer who was a catalog from 2 years ago, send them the digital one. It's searchable. You can go by page, you can search for certain terms, etc. It's great. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, how do I say this? We do these training calls every week, and I had a little reminder on our CEO call to ask you guys this. Do you guys actually do and practice the things that we talk about and train? I'm curious. For example, how many of you did the telling your story multiple times a day? And good.
Yay, Megan.
So someone on our team was at a Super Saturday and had the opportunity, at the last minute were pulled up on stage to tell their story in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. And because they'd been doing that, they rocked it. It was Steve and Margot. They did a great job, but she heard that instruction on a call and did it immediately. So I just really want to emphasize how important it is to, you know, this is, yes, it's our social time. It's our time to connect and get together as a team, but there's a purpose to all of this. And I promise you guys that everything pretty much that I'm passing on to you is stuff that I've learned from people who I greatly respect and admire. And you know the people that I get the privilege of working with. So just check in if you're not doing some of that stuff. Like if you're not comfortable by now telling your story at the drop of a hat, there's definitely some practice. And I'm not asking this and saying this to make anyone feel bad or to beat you up, but think about it. Like we get on, and I know it's so easy. Like we go to these courses, we take our notes, we flip to the next page, we come home and okay, that was last week. And sometimes I don't even remember what did we train on last week. So it's important, review it and practice it and take the actions. And the other thing is, another check-in question, are you resisting any of the coaching and feedback that you're getting? I truly believe that successful, not just leaders, but successful people seek out feedback. And if there's something you're resisting, I know there are people that I've coached, and I'm not saying anyone on this call particular, but people that I've coached that I've made very specific suggestions that I believe will cause a breakthrough for them, that will help them go to the next level. And for some reason, those actions aren't being taken. And it's not like I'm saying go spend $5,000 on a Tony Robbins event. I'm giving suggestions that it's a book, it's go to Toastmasters or something. So is there something you're resisting as far as coaching and feedback? Think about what that is, because that one thing that you're maybe resisting is the biggest thing that could help you. And just kind of sit with that. So what we talked about on our CEO call today was, finishing the year strong, of course, talking about identity. So have you, for those of you who have done the Healthy Mind and Body, you probably know a little bit about this. What does identity mean to you guys? Throw some things out there. What do you think identity is?
Who you are. Oh.
It's who you think you are.
Yeah. How you see yourself, what you believe about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And this trainer at the course this weekend asked a very interesting question. Who were you on the day you were born? I certainly wasn't the person who, I'm not the workout girl. I'm not an athlete. That's not who I was born. That's what I learned or taught myself or decided to adapt. And whatever your next level is, and think about that and write it down. You don't have to share it if you don't want to publicly, or you can share it in the chat. What do you want to be December 31st? Where do you want to be in your business? Where do you want to be with your health? Where do you want to be with your fitness? And you must shift your identity. Most of us must shift our identity, especially if we've been at the same place for a while. I know I have. I have to shift my identity now to get to a different level. And my identity is my choice. So the identity controls, according to Rod Hairston, our subconscious. So what are some things we can do to shift that? So it's one of the things that Rod talks about is mirroring. And I'm sure you guys have, if those of you who did the Healthy Mind Body, or what are the qualities of the next level of identity for you? You know, if your next level is executive 2-star, what would an executive 2-star do every day? What kind of books do they read? What kind of Facebook posts do they make? Do they work out? You know, how do they show up in the world? What systems do they use? What is their daily action? What kind of systems do they follow? So commit to mirroring. And sometimes people are, I'm going to say this, I said that on the CEO call this morning, too many people follow too many people. And what that does, it kind of diffuses and dilutes everything, because one leader trainer is adamant that this is the absolute way to do it, and it's like this. And then somebody else says it's like this. And if you're following 10 people, you're going to not be able to do anything. And the other thing to consider is, are you copying someone without knowing their actual results? Because in our company, you know, titles, sometimes people can achieve a certain title, but they're not at that level. And then, so that's why I choose to, this is my choice, and I'm not saying you guys all have to make that choice, but I choose to follow the people in the top 10. I know a lot of them, number one. I know who they are, and not everyone in the top 10, I shouldn't say that. The people I choose to follow happen to be in the top 10. Let me reframe. They weren't always, sometimes, you know, they were in the top 25, but I certainly wasn't following people who weren't where I would love to be. So write down the result you're committed to, and think of 3 names of people who have the results that you'd like to have, that you will mirror. So for me, Susan Sly is someone I admire, and who definitely has results beyond. Kathy Coover is someone whose work ethic, mentorship, and coaching I greatly admire. So those are my 2, and I'm seeking a 3rd now because that was our assignment this month. And I remember this when I was very, very first started working with Susan. I had sticky notes up, and I say, what would Susan do now? What would Susan do now? And it was that time I was like, I don't feel like calling any more people, or yeah, I've worked long enough, or I've done enough today. And what would Susan do now? She'd probably call 10 more people. So we definitely get what we focus on, and you know, where are you spending your time? So what does mentorship mean to you guys? I'm curious. Who's willing to share?
I'll go. Can you hear me?
You're a little faint, but I can.
Okay. I have a bad earpiece on. I'm sorry. Better now?
Not a lot.
All clear now? No, I think it's worse. Get out. For me,
Is your mic blocked somehow, or?
no. Can you not hear me well enough at all? Because I don't have to share.
Now as you're leaning forward, I can hear you better.
Okay. Well, I can turn it and you can hear me better. Because I can talk into the microphone. Is that better?
It's much better.
Okay. So for me, the mentorship, it's really important. And I think you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but like if I have a mentor in my health, I look at someone, they have to be walking their talk. So if I want a personal trainer, it's not, for me, if my goals are toning and maybe trimming a few inches, I'm not going to pick someone I have nothing against someone who's 20 pounds overweight, but I want my personal trainer to have the results that I'm looking for. And they've created those results for the people that they've trained before. So I want to have someone as my mentor in different situations in my life that, like, I want to go to 2-star. So my mentors definitely have to be 2-star, probably even 3-star or 4-star, because I don't want to I remember like in learning to play softball, like with swinging the bat, you don't ever just swing to where the ball is, you follow through. and you swing like you're swinging for the bat to hit you in the back. And when you're running to first base, you don't run like you're going to first base. You run like you're going 50 yards past first base. So I really have someone who's achieved further than what I want. I want those people to be my mentors because, and not just that they've done it, but they've also taught other people how to do it. So for me, that's really important to have a mentor that fits in those categories. That's a big part of it for me.
That's great. I love that. And it's interesting that mentorship came up on our CEO call because it also came up in that seminar we were at. And he said mentorship is the fastest way to massive results. And when selecting a mentor, he said, he said something I hadn't heard before, and I don't know, but he said mentors who started off worse or at the level you did. And the way I interpreted that is like for me to say, Lynn Hagedorn is my mentor. Well, she already had years of network marketing experience behind her. She was already very successful in the industry, et cetera. So she had maybe a very different starting point than where I was starting. I had no database, no circle of influence. So maybe finding, if you're a mom, maybe find at least one of those mentors or people that you want to mirror to also be a mom in a similar situation. Someone who has actually done it, isn't just talking about it. Perhaps somebody whose lifestyle you want. Maybe, and I'm not saying you have to live like them, but you want the freedom or whatever that they have. And also something that I think, one who makes learning fun, that for me is an important one, but one who will hold you accountable. And that's something that, we all say, yes, we want to be accountable, and yes, I'm coachable, but then when someone actually wants to hold you accountable, there's a bit of resentment. So, and a mentor can be, if a mentor's just telling you always how wonderful you are and you're great and blowing smoke up your bum, that might feel really good, but is it going to get you where you want to be? I personally am someone who would rather have somebody who holds my feet to the fire and I get results than somebody who just keeps telling me how great I am. So that was it on mentorship. And then what was requested to do a bit of training on is really on sales and collecting decisions. But before we transition to that, I just want to ask any feedback or observations from what the first half of the call. Takeaways.
Around mentorship, one of the things that really, really is important to me is, as you said, number one, it's somebody who's actually done the steps, the things that are in front of me to do so that they can really coach me through, what they did and what works. And probably even more important to me, it's not somebody who's reached a level and they're just sitting on their success. It's somebody who's still learning, who's still growing, who has their own mentors, that can bring, new ideas and current technology. And, it's one of the things I really love and respect about what you bring to our group is that it's not just, yes, I'm a millionaire, so just do what I did. It's no, I've achieved something. I'm still in the game. I'm still learning. I'm still bringing to you the new things that I've learned. I still have my own mentors. And I remember what it was like, to be really working hard to get to 3 cycles a week. So, that's for me is who I want to work with, is somebody that's done what's in front of me to do and is still going beyond even where I want to achieve. So, as long as you're still ahead of me, I'm still following.
Thank you.
I
And I
think
till somebody
that's what
ahead of me. Yes, Leanne.
I was going to say, I think too, that's what inspires me about most of the people in the company that have done really well too, is nobody's just sitting on their success. They want to continue to share. And I don't think anybody's ever really going to retire, because why retire when it's something that you love to do if you're helping other people?
Yeah.
So I love that about you and the company and the people that are exactly like James said. They're not just sitting on their success. They're walking the walk, like Penny said.
Right. Thank you. And I'm going to ask James to join me on some of this. James has done a lot of training in the arena of sales, etc. And I'm just going to throw a few things out there from notes, James, and then throw it to you. One of the things that this Marshall Silver gentleman talked about, and by the way, my husband also swallowed fire this weekend.
Wow.
I'll post the video. And some of this isn't exactly in any particular order, but he said certainty and confidence is contagious, and the principles of persuasion is to entertain, to educate, and then to empower people to make a decision. Avoid say no questions, meaning something people can, during your conversation, something that they would say no to. And of course, gaining rapport, we've talked about that. And I love this. He said, highly influential people are highly assumptive. And this guy was, I'll tell you what, I've seen lots of people selling things on stages, as I'm sure James has, and he used to do that. This guy was a master at doing things like seeding. Like from the moment we sat down, I could, because I've been around that, I could tell, but most people I don't think recognize it, but he was seeding. He was very assumptive. He assumed everybody in that room was going to buy his huge program, which we didn't, but he made it very compelling. And he played with people's resistance. He talked about that. Don't back down from people's resistance. Play with it. Play into it. All buying decisions are made by emotion. I'm sure we've heard that. And he talked about future placing. So, when you're talking to someone, let's say you're doing a presentation to someone who would like to release 30 pounds and regain their energy and fit into their skinny jeans. So during that, you're just saying, oh man, imagine when you get those jeans on again. And imagine how good you're going to feel when you go to your high school reunion or whatever. So future placing when they have gotten their results that they're seeking. I have a feeling that you're going to really love this program. So don't ask. He said assumptive people don't ask, we tell. Let's see, taking charge of the environment. He said things like the investment is pretty substantial and I'm sure you can afford it. Like he's making that assumption. And I'm going to show you this. He's not asking, would it be okay that I'm going to show you X, Y, Z. And then he talked about actually saying if you have a product you're selling that has a retail value, to say that first. So the retiring, for example, the retail investment for the President's Pack is $800, and I can't remember now off the top of my head, $800 and something. Of course, that's not the investment you'll make when you get started. And he doesn't go right to the lower price. Then he keeps, doing the presentation or talking about it. So when you get started, that's not the investment you're going to make. Talking about reiterating to people that you want this, whatever this is. You want to feel great, and your kids deserve it. If you're getting resistance in future placing for them, he also says future place and bring others into it. So for example, can you imagine how much fun your kids are going to have when you're able to take them to the park every day after work because you're not as tired anymore? So bring others into it if you need to. So frame the offer or presentation to be what they want. So if what they want is to release weight, do the presentation around that. The best program for getting rid of that weight. So and we do that a lot. We talk about the name of our program and all the things it has. And that's kind of talking about features rather than benefits. So there was something I read that was very interesting where a guy was shopping for a chainsaw. And he went into one store and they told him all about the RPMs and the different technological things about this chainsaw, and he felt totally stupid because he didn't understand what they were talking about. He went to the next store, and the guy said, well, what kind of trees do you need to cut down? And got a sense of, he said, oh, well, what you need is this one, and it's really easy to turn it on. And he didn't talk about any of the specs of, and I think we have such a tendency to talk about the specs of our program rather than the benefits of the program. So again, talking about when you get started, or as soon as you've been on the program for a week, you're going to realize those kinds of things. Assumptive. Focusing, he said, free is so powerful. And I think we sometimes overlook that. Yeah, it has free membership and it has a free blender. And I sometimes don't even talk about that. I'll say it includes membership. But he said free is powerful. Even if the free value is $5, people love, love, love getting free stuff. So emphasize it. Giving them, again, direction. I want you to get started as soon as possible. If they're, again, are still resisting, give more information. Some people invest in this program because, and talk, this is where you can bring in sort of other stories and other reasons. And here's a great thing that I'm going to start asking, and I've never asked this, and what's the reason you didn't buy or didn't get started when people don't make that decision? And I'm sure we all have those people who either said no or who haven't given us a decision. So what's the reason you didn't buy, join, or get started, or why haven't you yet?
I don't understand that, Stephanie.
So if somebody said no to you, no, I don't want to, no, thank you, this isn't for me. I'm really curious, what's the reason that you're not going to get started getting healthy or get releasing that weight or whatever? And he did a lot of, and this is something, James, you probably have more familiarity with. This guy apparently sold $1.5 million on Harv's stage in one presentation. But anyway, he did a lot of head nodding. He'd say, he'd go, are you average or are you exceptional? Like, he did so much languaging with his body. It was crazy. He talked about, and I don't know if this really applies to us, but maybe for someone who's brand new starting out and using a practice approach, it could work. But he talked about the power of the timeshare industry, and they're actually trained because 95% of people who walk into a timeshare presentation have no intention of buying. Those are the statistics. They have no intention of buying, and they know that. And they'll say, so they'll look at them, they walk in, they'll look at them, say, I'm just trying to figure out if you're the 95% or the 5%. And the people look like, well, 95% of the people walk in here, we're absolutely committed to not buying anything. And that's okay. If that's, are you, and people usually say, yeah, we're not going to buy anything. And I'll say, could you do me a favor? Could you just act as if what I'm saying to you makes total sense and you totally agree with me? Because, and it's totally what you want. Just, can you do that for me? So if somebody is using a practice approach, you're having somebody who's nodding and agreeing with you, and physiologically, their resistance to whatever you're presenting changes right away. So even that's why we'll ask people, is this making sense? The check-in with your audience. And of course, creating the pretty picture of what things are going to look like once they get started. Speaking investment, not price, etc. So, and then I know that what was really requested is how to get people to to the decision. So, James, anything on what I said so far? I was just kind of throwing stuff out there. Or you want to transition? It didn't leave you much time. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I do. Every time we're in a conversation, you have to remember that there's two people involved, and I think sometimes we forget that. So we have this goal of imparting information and getting somebody to say yes, but the truth is that whether they will say yes or not starts with you. at some level. So I love, and I get some people, react to somebody who's very forceful and very strong, but I think you can be positive about the outcome, without having to, feel like you're bullying people or, you're getting them to do something that they don't want to do. So that's the first thing. First, you have to make sure that you have enough conversation with somebody that you're really clear that you have something to offer them that is exactly what they need in their lives. The second thing is you need to be absolutely sure of your position in this. So, do you really believe in the products you're recommending to them? Do you really have stories, your own story, your sponsor's story, client stories, other people in Isagenix? Do you really have stories that are so compelling to you that you love to share them, even with people that don't feel like they're interested? Like just that place of, I'm so excited to share this. And then you have to really be clear that you're expecting them to say yes. Because why wouldn't they? If you're talking about a product that's worked for you, you have compelling stories about people in all sorts of different walks of life that you can share with them, the one that really fits for them. And that you're addressing a real need for them, why wouldn't they say yes? Like, I think you have to be absolutely shocked if they say no. Like, shocked. Like, I can't even, wow. Like, I mean, sometimes I've actually said to people, I don't know how you could say no. Like, I must have totally screwed up here. Like, I just totally messed up here. Like, did I miss what it was that you need? And then I'll, review what they said, or, did I miss, like, I thought it was something you wanted, but did I just make that up? I mean, like, just be aghast if they say no. That's coming from a place where, somebody's got to really look at their answer. If they say no in the face of you, using languaging that's positive and moving them towards a decision, when you're talking about an investment in themselves, when you're talking about the future of what it looks like for them to use the product, when you talk about, what it looks like for their husband, maybe, who gets to come home from work, or the kids that you get to play with, or the grandkids that you get to go and visit, or, the vacation that you haven't taken for 10 years that you get to go and have. I mean, when you're talking about how you're going to transform their life by them just investing something at a discount. I like the idea of talking retail. We're so afraid of the price points. We want to sell them 9 days because it's cheap. It's like, no. Let's talk about the full retail of a business pack. And then build the value to the point where that feels like a bargain, and then give them a discount off that. As opposed to, well, here's the business builder pack at the lowest wholesale, and if I got to give you a discount, then I have to go to a lower pack. Yeah, no, I like the idea of full retail. And then be convinced that you're offering the value that justifies them spending that amount of money, and then give them a discount. Now it's like, wow, I'm convinced that I should spend $3,000 on this, and you're going to give it to me for how much? Awesome. And I know with Peter Kelly, there's, I don't know if Steph could find that again. There was a talk that she did about building value, and really painting the picture of what people are receiving, and talking about, a multi-million-dollar website. I mean, it costs millions to develop it. You get that for free. You get a free membership, you get a free blender, you get free coaching, you get a free membership to a VIP Facebook group where you can ask questions and get information. You get, I mean, think about how many things we offer for free. You get to, we run contests all the time where you get, amazing free prizes. I mean, this month doesn't take much to get 3 free things every month. Never mind, cash prizes and bonuses. And, you can do our Mind Body program for free. You can join our 16-week IsaBody challenge. Not only is it free, but we pay you to stay on it. You complete it, you get paid. Like, that's even better than free. It's free to join, and then we pay you if you complete it. I mean, you know, this company is so dedicated to people having success. You just really have to ask enough questions of somebody to understand what approach is going to excite them the most, and then paint the picture of them having the result that they're talking about. And, you know, I would say that one of the most important things to do, particularly if you haven't done a lot of presentations or haven't talked to a lot of people, is start watching your thoughts. Because what you're thinking going into a presentation or while you're talking to somebody, those actually are what are showing up, whether you're using the words or not. It's actually what's coming out. It's like if you eat, you know, heavy garlic meals or curry meals for a week, and then you go stand really close to somebody after working out, what are they smelling? Garlic or curry. You're not talking about garlic or curry, but it's there, right? Yeah. Your thoughts are actually emanating out of your body like what you're eating, because you're feeding yourself thoughts. You've got thoughts running all the time. If you want to really figure out what your thoughts are, here's a great exercise. Take a sheet of paper. On one side of it, write the activities I do by myself. So, you know, I brush my teeth, I get dressed, I make breakfast, I drive my car, I look after the kids, whatever, not look after the kids, things you do on your own. On the other side, write things I do when I'm with other people. So conversations, activities, courses, and then throughout the day. So take tomorrow, just take that sheet of paper, carry it around with you with a pen, and when you're by yourself, write down what thoughts show up while you're doing things. So I'm driving my car. You'd think you'd just be thinking about driving your car and the vehicle in front of you, but no, we're thinking about, oh my God, that visa payment's coming up and I don't have enough money. I've got that appointment to talk to that person and I don't want to, so I'm not going to. Well, okay, I will talk to them because Steph said I have to phone them, but then, you know, they're going to say no, so why would I bother, right? Like, we just have that stuff going at an underground, background level. So write that down. You know, when you're with people, what thoughts are you thinking? You know, lots of times we're not even in the conversation. We're thinking, you know, before we get to wherever we're going, we're thinking about, so they're going to say this, and then I'm going to say that, and then they're going to say this, and then I'm going to say that. And they mess it up because you thought they'd say hi, and then they say hello, and then your whole conversation gets thrown out the window. But we're not even there. Like, we're not even listening to them because we're thinking, okay, so they're going to ask about this, and then I'm going to talk about weight loss, and then I'm going to talk about the not the 9-day, no, maybe the 30-day. I talk about talking about the Business Builder Pack. So, you know, really, you know, watch what's going on in your head way before you have the conversation. And if there's somebody you can share, one of the things that Shiloh and I do before we do anything like a phone call, or even before this call tonight, you know, one of the things that we do is we ask each other, so how did it go? How did it turn out before it happens? So I told her we had an amazing group of people on the call. It was absolutely wonderful because we had all this great information and everybody came away with something that totally transformed their business. And people were so excited that next week we'll probably have twice as many people. That's what happened. And I think it did.
I like that.
Yeah.
Imagining that income and the outcome without being attached to it, but just being excited about it. And I love that, James, that you said. It's that belief, and our thoughts around it absolutely emanate. And when we have that rock solid belief, we come across in a way that is very persuasive and very attractive to people. And I'm assuming if you're in front of somebody, you're presenting to someone that you truly believe that it can help them.
Yeah, and I think the other thing you talk about being in a weekend with Marshall Silver. I mean, the guy's been doing it long enough and has enough people in the room that he knows that there are people that are going to give him 40 grand for his program, and they're not going to have success. But he's still standing at the front of the room talking to the people that he knows their lives will transform. So, you know, when you're going to talk to somebody, don't be thinking about the last person you had that, you know, did a 30-day and complained about the flavor of the shake, or Like, no. Think about Stephanie. Think about Susan Sly. Think about the person who embraces this, transforms their life. Think about the person that you just read about that lost 100 pounds or 200 pounds. We recently had somebody lost 300 pounds. Think about what that does to somebody's life, you know, and transfer that to the person you're talking to. It's like, so if they're talking about releasing weight, it's like, so, you know, in a perfect world, what would you want to lose? And then how would your life be different? And do you know that we can create that for them? Can we?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have tons of evidence that people can release weight. You know, can they make enough money to pay for their product? Of course they can. Absolutely. We have tons of evidence. And for the people who really embrace it, you know, could they make $1 million? Well, of course they can. I mean, 10% of the people on this call have already done that. So, you know, it's anything is achievable with this. And I think that's what we have to remember. And obviously, Marshall standing at the front of the room isn't thinking about the people that, you know, signed up and then didn't continue or didn't pay for it or didn't finish it or didn't have the results they wanted. He's thinking about the people that had amazing success. And that's who he's talking to. And I think there's that person inside everybody we always talk to. Everybody that we talk to, inside of them has the person who can embrace the program and knock it out of the ballpark. Everybody does. Will they? Only if they get signed up and started. And that's your job. Get them signed up and get them started. The rest of it is up to them.
Yeah.
And we're not asking them to give you $40,000. We're saying, you know, give me like $1,000 and I'll transform your life.
And it's not even going to, like, they're not even giving it to us. For those of you who remember Jen Smith, I remember she would say to people, and I used to do this too, and I'm going to get back to doing it. She said, I promise you, if you put these products in your body and follow the program, your life will change. That's the kind of certainty she had. And it's true. And we can say that to people. People need that certainty. People are seeking certainty in a very uncertain world. And I know we're going a little bit over, but I know that Penny for sure wanted some actual decision collecting kind of language. So we talked a little bit about seeding all the way along, being presumptive that they are going to decide. And, you know, some people, I know Jay Bennett's like, well, so do you want chocolate or vanilla? And really it can be that simple. It's just asking, are you ready to get started? How soon can we get this into your body? How soon do you want this on your doorstep? Is there anything else you need to know to say yes right now? James, you probably have lots of others.
Yeah, I think anybody that gets somebody no longer thinking about the decision of, am I doing this or am I not doing that? You're giving them actually a different decision to make. So anything that's come up in conversation, they might say that they work, and you can say, so do we want the Business Builder Pack sent to your office or to your home? What would be more convenient? Well, that's a different decision. Now they're telling you, oh, okay, well, ship it here. And honestly, if they haven't decided for sure, then they'll back you up. But, if they just, we're in that place of, I've decided, but I don't really want to spend the money, or I'm not going to unless you actually ask me, then if you don't actually ask them, they could wander away being 99.9% ready to order and just waiting for you to give them the opportunity. Do you have your Visa card with you?
How many of you have done a presentation or shared a tool and not gone to collect the decision, not ask those questions?
Yeah.
Right? We've all done that. And when you think about it, it's such a disservice. We've just wasted their time. We've just wasted our time. And I still remember Dr. Randy, remember, in Edmonton? For I think a year or 2 years, there were 2 people talking to him on our team about the program. Yeah, he's really interested. Yeah, he's really interested. So I was in Edmonton. I went for an adjustment. I pulled out an enrollment form. I said, I understand you're wanting to get started in Isagenix. Let's fill this out now. Oh, okay. Boom. I'm not kidding you guys. Do you think those people those leaders who enroll somebody sitting on an airplane didn't pull out an enrollment form and say, let's get you started? They didn't say, okay, well, let's touch base, you know, once we're home and I'll call you tomorrow. They're going all the way to collecting that decision.
Yeah, I think as soon as you know what their need is and you've described to them this opportunity for them to achieve it, it's fair to ask them for a decision. You know, once you've built the value, what else is there to do? Get the decision.
There are a few things you can do also on the front end, you know, so you could say, so before we get started, I want to be sure that you're seriously interested in radically transforming your health, releasing that weight, getting rid of your muffin top, whatever they've told you that they'd like to do. And another thing that you could, if you could ask up front is, will you be the one making the decision about your health and about this investment? So they can't come back to you at, well, I have to ask my husband now. Will you be the one making the decision? You know, and if it's a good friend, I would say, you know, I know you're in charge of your own finances, so you get to make this decision, right?
Another really good tool, and Steph mentioned it, but it might have gotten lost in it, is, you know, some people invest in this because, you know, lots of times when there's something that they haven't actually said, but you have a feeling there's something going on, you can address it without it being direct to them with some people invest in this because.
They've tried everything else
Yeah, you know, you know, some people invest in this because we have these amazing scientists and we've proven that the product works. Some people invest in this because we have people that have released 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds, and we really honor them and respect them because we have a club. They got a whole lot of free stuff just for achieving their goals. You know, whatever it is, you know, and you can even make it more specific. I mean, you know, I know of teachers or business people or, you know, pick their profession, plumbers, that have invested in this because.
Yeah, it's so convenient and they get to eat on the go and it's healthy, or, yeah, I love that. Awesome. All right, Penny, specifically, we'll start with you. Was that helpful? Any other questions?
Yes, it's been so helpful. I was trying to write down when you started, I was trying to write down everything you were saying as far as like, you could say this or this or this. And it was so fast, so I know you can't repeat it now. I don't know if it's something that some of those little quips you'd be able to post somewhere or send them to me. I'll type them up and I could post them in the business group if that's a possibility. But I do want to say, because then
just on that note, sorry, did anyone take really good notes that they're willing to share with Penny?
I think this is so good, you just need to review the recording, that's all.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I guess I could do that if I just have to figure that out. But because that's what I need to do is take these and practice them to get them into my, you know, getting used to saying them and that sort of a thing. But the other thing, the piece when James was sharing, can y'all hear me good enough?
Yes.
Where you said, first, you know, remember you have to be really clear what they need. Secondly, blah, blah. The third one, expect them to say yes. And that I realize is a huge piece that I am often missing, is that I'll have a clear intention that I'm going to serve them and that I'm going to share clearly and succinctly and bring value to them. But that, I think it seems like such a no-brainer, but I think that's a huge piece that that I have missing. And I know Lauren and Megan and I have been listening to this guy like every day listening. And one of the quotes that he has said, it's all about your belief. And like, you literally can create anything in your life. It's all about your belief. And he talks a lot about, if you don't know what you believe, look at your life. And that will tell you what you believe, because that's what's happening. But he said something like, whatever people are saying to you, or people are always echoing back to you what you've whispered to them in silence.
Hmm.
And so if I've whispered to this person in silence, I expect that you're going to enroll. I expect that you're going to see the value I'm going to share with you. That's more likely what they're most of the time going to reflect back to me and echo back to me as what I've already spoken to them. And sometimes I think I've spoken to them without realizing it. They're going to see the value, but they're probably not going to enroll today. They're going to need to think about it. They're going to have to get more information. Like other little things, I'm just going to have to stop whispering and having those crazy thoughts. So I really appreciate that.
I don't know who's shuffling something, or I'm hearing some noises, but thank you, Penny. That was great. Anyone else?
Just say something to Penny. You know, one of the things I know about you is you really actually do want to serve people, and you really do want them to have an amazing life. And they can't unless they say yes.
Mm.
So all the rest of it is not actually serving them
Right.
until they say yes.
Mm.
So I think the shift for you is I want to serve people by having them sign up and have an amazing program and do really well with it. Like that's your entire intention. You're having a conversation with somebody because you want to transform their lives, not just give them some information, not just help them to look at things, not just help them to see that there's some things they're doing that aren't working. No, I'm here to change your life. I'm here to transform your life. I have the solution for you. And I know I do because I know the products work and I've talked to you enough to know what you're looking for. So the only way I get to help you is if you say yes. And whether you're saying that to them or you're just exuding that with every breath, at least they know that that's what you're up to.
Yeah.
And at least you know that you've done everything you can to help them do what's best for them. Otherwise, we're just, a walking pamphlet. It's here's some information, take it away and do whatever. Like,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, here's some info. Thanks for playing.
Wait till Stephanie comes to your office and pulls out an enrollment form for you.
yes.
All right, let's a couple more takeaways and we'll wrap it up.
I have a quick question actually for you, Stephanie. Can you hear me?
Yes, questions have to be paired with the takeaway though.
Okay, so my takeaway is that this was like awesome, and it's actually coincides with a podcast that I found. Her name is Crystal Wilson, and she's from Australia. She went 4-star in like 2 years, but she was in timeshare, so she had all this background. Anyway, a lot of what she said is getting repeated, so I know I need to hear it. The universe is telling me this is what you need to know. My question is, so with the IsaTools app, when you see people watch it multiple times, and like I've followed up with him, he's not interested. This guy, a friend of mine's watched it like 2 or 3 more times. Do I just reach back out? And I guess I'm getting stuck on myself, but I'm throwing it out there.
He said he's not interested?
Yeah, but he's watched the video at least 2 or 3 times since then. Since we've had a conversation.
And did you talked and he said, not for me, thanks?
Yep.
Okay, so how about following up and saying, you know what, I totally forgot to ask you, what's the reason you didn't want to get started?
Okay. I like that.
And then ask for a referral. Because maybe it's possible he passed that video on to someone else, and I think Penny, is your understanding is if that gets forwarded, the person who forwarded it would be still the one showing as if they viewed it, right?
Yeah, if they copy the link and retext it. That's what's happened.
Okay.
Honestly, sometimes people legitimately can't get started right away because of money. Sometimes legitimately they just don't have $1 on their credit card left or whatever. So maybe it's like you know, did you say, did you also, when he said not for me, say not right now or not forever?
He was very like,
Adamant?
I don't think it's for me. I don't think it's for me. But I mean, and after watching or listening to the Crystal Wilson one, her whole thing is once she has an objection, she knows she can get them because all they're doing is asking for more information.
Wait, so see, I don't think this is for me. I don't hear that as a hard no.
Right. So I just need to get over myself and.
Yes, and you could do like what James says, like, oh my God, I must have done a really shitty job of explaining this or something. Like, did you watch that? It tells me you watched the video. Did you watch the whole video? You know? Play with the resistance. Play with the resistance.
Yeah, and I think, you know,
Sorry, you guys, we're going a little over, but I think this is so helpful. And it's a great, isn't it interesting? Sometimes we end up training the specific thing that we need most ourselves, because I have a lot of people right now just kind of hanging, you know, just hanging, looking around and hanging. And so this has been a great reminder for me. So yeah, that's what I would definitely, you know, you said you didn't think it was for you. So what did that mean? Tell me more about that. Another powerful question that we know and love, right? Tell me more about that.
yeah.
Because all he could be saying is, I don't really believe in myself that I could do this. And all he needed maybe was reassurance that he absolutely could do this, or that will guide him to do it. And, you know, you'll show him how to do it, or you don't know. What do you think of like that? To me isn't a no, right? I don't think this is for me. That sounds like such a weak resistance.
Well, you know, I think the most valuable thing is there, and you did mention it, Steph, you know, it's that why isn't this for you? But I think the first three letters of that are the most important. Why? And it's something I have struggled with for 30 years in this industry. You know, probably I've been in sales. Well, I started selling greeting cards door to door when I was like 7. So I've been doing this a really long time. And I'll tell you the question that pops into my head often when I'm having conversations with people is why? In my head, I'm thinking, why are they saying that? Why are they making that decision? Why are they asking that question? Why aren't they signing up? And, you know, for all of us, when we were little, at some point, somebody got tired of us asking why. Because as little kids, we can ask the why question like 100 times in half an hour, yes?
Yeah.
I mean, any of you have, you know, little kids or nephews or grandkids, or, I mean, the why, because we're curious about everything. And then we start hearing, you know, don't ask, stop asking, you know, or you just get ignored. And the why question gets beat out of us. Mm-hmm. And so one of my biggest practices, and I forget it sometimes, and then I hang up the phone and I know what happened because I still have the why question running around in my head, but I've already hung up the phone. So I didn't get to ask it. So I don't know, maybe the practice is before you get on a phone call or before you follow up with somebody, it's like, no matter what question is in my head, I'm actually going to ask it out loud. Because what's the worst thing that could happen? There is no worst thing.
Yeah.
Like they're either going to know why or they're not. And if they don't, it's like, you just say, I don't understand. Like, I mean, really, just be curious. Allow yourself to be the little kid with the why. And I think that's the biggest thing, Megan. What you're saying is, there's a why here that I didn't ask. And now it's starting to bug the out of me.
Yeah.
So the answer to that is to ask.
I think a lot of the reason that people don't collect the decision is because of the fear of the word no. So let's just know that up front, that nobody loves to hear no, and it's totally okay to hear no. And this is something that Marshall guy said, people aren't saying no to you, they're saying no to themselves. How many times have we heard that? And so now moving forward, we're going to be presumptive. We're going to ask those decision questions, and in circling back and following up with people, this is the one that works beautifully, and Lauren's witnessed it, is on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I'm absolutely not interested and 10 being I wish I'd started last week. Where are you right now with joining, your decision to join? That's going to tell you exactly where they are. And based on that number, then if they're a 7, say, Okay, so what do you need to know, or what other questions can I get answered for you in order for you to be a 10? Or what's going on in your life that you're not a 10? And often it's not the first or second or third answer even. So be willing to be a detective. Like if they say something that doesn't make any sense, like we heard, right, with Lauren, it's like, well, my sister's coming next week to visit and something. I'm like, okay, and what's the real reason? Like, I don't understand. Be curious. Yes, we need to be more like children, asking our questions. Okay. Anyone have any other takeaways?
I'll do a quick one, and then I got to go put her to bed. The whole call was, awesome. So everything was a takeaway, but something that really sticks out is when I'm talking to people, I always say, and if you decide to do this, we'll go through your box with you. And, and I always use if. I always use if. I always use with if, because then I get nervous. Sometimes I'm like, if I say when, they're going to be expecting this. And so I will never use if again.
That is awesome.
I do that.
The languaging. He
Yep.
said, remove the word but, try. What were the other ones, Al? Do you remember?
Yeah.
It's the same as the peaks world, right? There are certain words. Hope is a very weak word.
Mm-hmm.
Weak words. Instead of hope, no. I hope you get started. I know you're going to want to get started. When you hear what I have to say, I know you're going to want to get started. If replaced with when, problem replaced with challenge, and instead of in a different context, why is like how. Why does this always happen to me? Or how can I change this?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I afford this? How can I afford this? Those are more self kind of questions, but language is so important. So think about that. I love that what James said. What are your thoughts? And if you want to do an exercise, just sit quietly and write I am and see what comes up. Just let it free flow. I am. And what are the kind of judgments that you're having what judgments are you making on yourself, or what kind of negative thoughts are you conditioning your mind with? So get rid of the words try, can't, and but. You cannot believe how many people stood up in that room to share, and he said there are a lot of big buts in this room, and there were. Every fourth sentence had a but in it, which is such a negative word. So pay attention to your language. If anybody wants to role play. You know what? The other thing, I just had this thought, you guys, like these calls, I find them so valuable. There are so many people missing out by not being here. How about after every call, we decide one person's going to make a post in the business group about how great the call was, and then we all will comment to reiterate how great it was, or some takeaway or something.
That's a great idea.
All right, so who will make that post tonight?
I'll make it.
All right, leaders go first. Yay! Yay. Thank you, guys. Sorry we went late.
Thank you so much.
Night, everyone.
Thanks.
Good night.
Hey, before you go, what's the whisper campaign for tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop the recording.